And good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to another episode of Think and Grow Rich Mastermind. Hi, my name is Ann McNeil, and I am the Master Builder, helping you to build a stronger and better life and business. And I am very excited, yes, to be here sharing with you today again. What are we sharing? We're sharing the success principles espoused by Napoleon Hill in his phenomenal book entitled Think and Grow Rich. But today's principle is, I think, one of the most critical. Why? Because you start with your desire. What is it that you want? Number one, how much, doing what, and by when? But then you go to step number 4, and the author asks you, what is your plan? What is your plan? Well, today's show, we're talking about your plan. You see, your plan actually starts with organized plans. And Napoleon Hill says that organized plans are actually the crystallization of your desire as you convert your desire into action. But he shares with all of us that in order to have that action, to really be accountable for your action, you must first have an accountability group of individuals called the MasterMind group. It's called a council. You can call it a coach, a consultant, but you must be accountable for your plans. So today we're going to talk about your accountability with our special guest, Miss Chris McCarron. Yes, this is part 2 with Chris McCarron. And today is going to be a very, very, very special show because it's just going to be the two of us, just Chris and myself. The guys will be back later. Yes. But today, Chris and I are going to go deep into your organized plans to help you crystallize those plans into action and to hold yourself accountable by continuing to come back and share with us. Remember that everything that you acquire starts with your desire, mixed with your imagination, with your plans, but it all starts with an idea and your definite commitment, your definite chief aim, your definite purpose to create that which you desire. All right? So we are going to bring on our special guest this morning, Miss Chris McCarron, and we're going to tell you a little bit about her. Good morning, Chris. How are you?
I'm doing great, Ann. How are you this morning?
Listen, I could not be more excited than to be here with you. Shh, alone.
Alone. Just the two of us, just girl talk. This is all girl
Yes,
talk.
yes, 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 yes. I want the guys to know, yes, we truly do miss you, but it does give us a chance to have that, that kind of, yes, I'll call it girl talk conversation. But let's talk a little bit, Chris. We're talking about girl talk, but what about talking about who you are and what you do? So, Chris McCarron, it is said that she uses her role as a real estate agent. And actually, you were sharing with me before we started the program about an idea that you have that you're implementing. So, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But Chris is a real estate agent, she's an investor, and she has a podcast which she's going to share. But she also is an entrepreneur who's willing to do the inner work. And I don't think you can have any greater person to represent you as a coach or a consultant if you fit into her niche. Everybody can't fit into her niche. She's going to talk about that. Actually, Chris, why don't you come on and share with us a little bit about how do people really fit into your niche? Who you are, what you do, but how do they fit into your niche?
Well, it's very easy, but you can't fake it. You've got to be a single woman, 50 or older, who is not sure that she has the money to retire. That's the niche. And that is, you don't show up with a wig if you're a guy because it's just not going to work. Women have very specific needs and challenges when it comes to retiring. And that's who I'm focused on.
All right. So before we really get into the show, we're going to go to our 13 steps. And we're going to talk about how they connect, because organized planning is one of the links in that chain. We talked about the first link being your desire. The second really is your faith. But let's bring on the audio and share with our audience all of these steps. And then you choose which one you really need to work on the most. But I'll tell you, for myself, it's organized planning.
Number 1 is desire. Napoleon Hill said that everything starts with a burning desire, a compelling reason for doing what it is we do. Step 2 is faith, having belief in our ability to attain that which we desire. Step 3 is what we call autosuggestion. Autosuggestion simply means being very intentional about the things that we are pouring into our thoughts, into our brains, and into our consciousness. Our brains, our minds will receive everything automatically, but we have to work extra hard to make sure that the positive things are what we are feeding ourselves, because those positive thoughts are going to turn into positive actions. Step number 4 is specialized knowledge. No one person knows everything, even about whatever their particular area of expertise might be. And the value of the MasterMind principle is using the specialized knowledge of other people. Step number 5 is imagination, the workshop of the mind. Everything starts with our imagination and our thoughts, the burning desire to transform those thoughts into our reality. In order to do that, we have to take a look at step 6, which is organized planning. That is how we crystallize our desire into action, organizing ourselves. Having the thought and not acting on the thought isn't going to get us anywhere. We have the thought, we go through the organized planning to transform that thought into action. Step number 7 is decision. What Napoleon Hill said is the mastery of procrastination. Napoleon Hill said that the antidote to procrastination is simply to make a decision and then move on that decision. Step 8 is persistence. We have to have a sustained effort which is induced by our faith in order to achieve our goals. One of Napoleon Hill's books I love, even the title, 3 Feet from Gold. Those people who became rich during the gold rush in the wild, wild west days didn't do that because they were necessarily smarter or had better information than anyone else. It's because they stayed just a little bit longer. Sometimes people left when they were just literally 3 feet from gold. So hanging in there, being persistent, is step number 8. Step number 9, the power of the MasterMind, the driving force. None of us can accomplish anything on our own. Everybody, I don't care who you are, from the most prominent person to the person who might be considered the lowest on the totem pole, everybody has someone who helped them get to where they are. And the power of the MasterMind is being able to use those influences around us, use the thoughts, use the knowledge, use the exploration of other people to help us in achieving our goal. Step number 10, the mystery of sex transmutation. This title can be a little confusing, but essentially what the mystery of sex transmutation means is that we oftentimes in our society think of sex as being purely physical. It is absolutely physical, but what Napoleon Hill teaches us is that sex also has an emotional element, and that sex is the strongest of our desires. That if we can take our sexual energy, transform that into positive, creative influences, it can propel us to new heights. And so we spend quite a bit of time talking about the mystery of step 10, which is sex transmutation. Step number 11 is the subconscious mind, which Napoleon Hill tells us is the connecting leap between our human mind and the infinite intelligence, the source of all thought, the source of all creativity. Conscious mind, we spent some time talking about how we use that through the influence of autosuggestion and what we're feeding into our mind. Step number 12, which is the brain, the broadcasting and receiving station of thought. Final step number 13, the sixth sense, the door to the temple of wisdom. This is the final step through which infinite intelligence may and will communicate voluntarily without any effort from or demands by the individual. The principle is the apex of the philosophy. It can be assimilated, understood, and applied only by first mastering the other 12 principles.
Wow, that says a lot. That says a lot, and that says it all. So, Chris, let's go back to the beginning. The author tells us when Napoleon Hill says that he first gave us in the beginning of the book the 6 definite practical plans, steps on how to accumulate money. He said, first, you must decide how much money you want. Second, he said, you must know what you're going to give in return for the money, some kind of product or service. Third, what's the date? Fourth, what is your plan? Fifth, write an affirmation statement. And then sixth, recite it twice a day. And I know, because of the fact that we have been in business together for a long time, that you're actually implementing some of those steps as relates to your plan for your business. Can you share the impact that these 6 steps have had on you since you first became acquainted with the book? So let's go back a little bit, because we're not going to assume that everybody know who you are in your story. So can you go back to the beginning of your introduction to the book and then share with us? Because I think that helps us to set up what we're going to discuss in the organized planning chapter as a principle.
Sure, Anne, thanks. Well, as you know, my real introduction to Think and Grow Rich was with you. When I first made the very wise decision to turn my head and say, sure, when you asked me if I wanted to be in an investment club with you.
Yes.
And that started us on a journey together, where I got involved with the Black NSA $1 Million Mastermind, where I got involved in your clarity work and your, your use of the book and your coaching and things like that. And that's really when I started to implement those. But, even at that, I want to just let people know who might have tried this before, who have said, oh, okay, I'm going to write my 6 steps. I'm going to do my thing. And then, oh, nothing happened, because it's a process, right? I mean, my goals, my thoughts, my focus has changed so much since the very beginning, because you have this tendency to either say, oh, okay, I want to earn $1,000, or you have a tendency to say, I want to earn $10 million, and without really feeling and understanding the power of this process. So yeah, my plan has been evolving, and I feel that it wasn't wasted time, right? All roads have led me to where I am right now, which is this very clear purpose and vision of, I'm in the process of creating a course, an online course that's going to be very big and far reaching, around devoted to people, to women, single women, 50 and over, who just feel like, this is hopeless. I've spent my whole life putting my money into other things for other people. And now all of a sudden I'm 50 or 60 or whatever, and I just don't have the money for comfortable retirement. I mean, and 84% of women say they do not plan to retire at 65. I mean, it's 54% don't plan to retire at 65, but for 84% of them, it's for financial reasons. I mean, that's not okay. And it is possible to come to a place where you do have the money for a comfortable retirement, but you just need to change your mindset, change your focus. And
so it sounds like you just might be making this a little personal. So are you singing from your own music?
And that's what they say about you. It's very possible that as there's this tendency, right? When you first start, okay, I'm going to be a real estate agent. I'm going to sell any house to anybody who wants it in the whole entire world. Because if I don't say that, then I'm going to miss somebody, right? I'm going to miss somebody. I'm going to miss out on some opportunity. But what turns out to be truer is that the more focused you are, the more likely you will succeed. And you know what? I mean, think, right, Anne? It's like, no kidding. Who told you that first? But it's true, because imagine, so I'm a real estate agent, and you might know, how many real estate agents do you suppose you know, Anne?
A lot.
A lot. Most of us know a lot. I know a lot. I probably know more than a lot of people. But so if somebody says to you, I need a good real estate agent. Who should I call? You might say, well, what area are you in? And you might give them based on area. But if I say, I'm a single woman over the age of 50, and I really think that the way for me to achieve a passive income stream in my retirement is to start doing real estate investing, you're going to say, oh my God, you need to talk to Chris, right? I'm the one person who's going to come into your mind because I'm the person who specializes in women over 50, single women over 50 who want to create a passive income stream for themselves to give themselves a comfortable retirement. And that's the power of this focus, the power of clarity, and the power of clarity.
Okay, so let's go there. Let's go to clarity. And for those of you who are a part of our Clarity Mastermind, Tashana, listen, Laverne, and so many others that are chiming in today, thank you for being a part of our clarity work. But let's talk about clarity for just a moment, Chris. And this is all centered around your organized plans. So clarity is something I did not have. And eventually I realized by focusing on the principles in this book, one at a time, especially the self-confidence formula, I found that it gave me greater clarity. And as my clarity grew, other people would ask me, what are you doing? I want some of that. And I would just say just simply this. So one thing led to another. And I created a clarity mastermind group called McNeil Factor Clarity Mastermind. So now let's have our audience chime in. So all of you that's a part of our Clarity Mastermind, if you want to make some comments or if you want to ask some questions, and for those of you who are not, you can just go to annmcneil.com and you can get information about that. But let's go back to Chris. Chris, can you share with us your clarity experience, and basically what is it that you've benefited from, and what impact has it had on what you're doing now? Because when I was grinning, for those of you who are listening on the podcast and you cannot see me, I was grinning from ear to ear as Chris was talking, because like she said, this is a process. It's a 2 to 5 year process, depending upon how much you want to do the inner work, and it is work. But let's have Chris share your thoughts, Chris, about your experience with the Clarity Mastermind.
Well, for me, it did all start with the self-confidence formula. Absolutely. I started that. Well, actually, it was Havilah Malone, who's now becoming quite famous. I keep seeing that she's getting all these great gigs, who challenged me to do a 90-day self-confidence formula test. And basically, you would just sit down every morning and you would write out the full self-confidence formula. And then in the evening, you do the same thing. And the more you do it, the more it just like drills into all the bad things that we think about ourselves, all the negativity, that all came over time, right? A lot of brainwashing from the planet. And getting it out is the same thing. You can't like forget all that stuff, but you can replace it. And that's what the self-confidence formula has been allowing me to replace, all those negativity, all those bad tapes that were unintentionally injected into my brain from, everybody. And then you start to think, as you go through your day, it pops up and says, are you doing this? And, you're acting counter to what you've been saying to yourself every morning. So that's where it all began. And then from there, once you have that self-confidence, once you believe that you can do some things, once you start to get over that idea of imposter syndrome and who am I to do this and who am I to have this situation, then ideas come to you and you have the confidence to follow through with them. Ideas always came to me, but I just would like, you don't have that same feeling that, yes, I can take this idea and I can run with it, that I am the person who can help single women over 50 to find themselves some type of passive income stream, whether it be stocks, whether it be real estate investing, whether it be something that they didn't even think about. It could be that they develop their own online course. But I feel now, which I didn't feel when I first started this process, that I actually have things of value to share with others. And that, along with the work that we do, for example, I was lucky enough to attend the Your Life and Legacy fantastic retreat this year, where we just basically drilled down on our business and said, well, what are you doing and how can you focus it and define it and make it more tangible and more successful. Because like what I was saying before, where you might have 1 million people who you know who are real estate agents, but when you have a single woman over 50 who wants to have a passive income stream from real estate, I don't care what location they're, I don't care where they are on the planet, they can call me and we will talk it through and I will help them. There's a lot of power in that clarity.
Wow, Chris, I'm excited just listening because I have been here. It's part of your journey literally every day. And it has been amazing to watch you and to watch others to step by step. It's a journey. I had the benefit of listening to Aida. I'm not sure if she's on today, but she was sharing on yesterday because we also do a Think and Grow Rich Friday accountability call for those of us that just want to have a group of people that we can share 1 minute what we read and what we are going to do and what we committed last week, whether or not we did or not. Okay, sometimes 2 minutes, but but to watch individuals, and we've seen them to go from a very, I wouldn't say that the self-confidence was very low, but it may not have been at the level that was required to take you to the next level. So let me say that again. If your desire is at a 10 out of 1 to 10, and your self-confidence is at a 2, the journey from 2 to 10 is work. That's the inner work. That's the clarity challenge that we do. And each person is on their own. Some people, it may take them 5 years or 10 years to get from 2 to 10. Some people, it may take a year or 2 to get to 10 because of the commitment they're willing to make to do the work. And so with those thoughts, Chris, let's talk about the inventory. You mentioned coming and attending my retreat. And for those of you that's interested, again, you can go to the website at annmcneil.com because we do host an annual retreat for your life and business, but it's a private pre-qualified event. It's only 10 people. Usually sometimes we get 1 male, but not more than that. But it is a phenomenal event, 5-star hotel, right, Chris? On a beautiful island, yes. But the point is, you have an opportunity to drill down in your life and your business. And for many of us, when we talk about plans, we will plan more have more plans centered around our vacation than we do our life. And so our challenge to all of us is, where's your life plans? We're talking about thinking and growing rich. It is not only about your business. We focus on 10 areas of our life: our spiritual, our family, our financial, our education, our health, the personal development, your business or businesses, your recreation, your creativity, and your civic. The question becomes, where are your 6-month plans, your 1-year plans, your 5-year plans, your 10-year plans, your 20-year plans? And for me personally, I'm in my 40 plus year doing this, of plans I wrote over 40 years ago. And so reassessing, where will I be 40 years from now? And this is what we're talking about with Chris. Chris has taken the last 2 to 4 years and drilled down into niching her market. Now we can talk about her strategic plans. And this is where the platforms come in, because she's very clear about who she is, who she represents, what's that target market, the gender, the industry, the age. You can't get much better than that. And so, Chris, let's move on to talk about, we talked about walking through the inventory. And at my retreat, we actually have a self-assessment inventory of your life and your business that you walk through. Napoleon Hill shares with us a self-analysis questionnaire for personal inventory. And what we like for all of our listeners and our guests to do for the short time that we have remaining is this. We want you to answer these questions for yourself, We want you to dialogue with us. Put your questions in the chat, put your comments in the chat, and let's pull you into the show. And actually, we will literally drop the StreamYard link in the chat on the social media. And if you are interested, you can let us know if you're interested in us pulling you into the show. This is the first time we're doing this, and we're going to pray it works well. But we know all of you that are listening that you are up for the challenge. And if you say you're up for the challenge, we're up for the challenge right here with you. So let's, Chris, what do you think about that idea of bringing on our guests?
I think they should be the star of the show. Absolutely. We'll have you all that are listening. You are the star of the show today. Let's hear your challenges, your experience with Think and Grow Rich, with organized planning, with Clarity Mastermind, all that stuff.
All right. So we have Dorita, we have Tashana, we have Laverne, we have Ruby. She's going to join us for Clarity. But those of you that are here, though, if you are interested, let us know in the chat. Tashana said, my mind. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Laverne. A group of like-minded and like-hearted people. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Laverne. She says that the monthly Clarity Mastermind is quite transformative. I thought I was masterminding before, but have since realized that we weren't really. This process is truly transformational. If we are, thank you, Laverne, she said if you are willing. And Tashana says that the self-confidence formula is so helpful. It does clear out and reset your mind. Wow. And Doretha, always so dependable and always there, sharing every single day. And good morning again to you. But we're going to go on to these questions and really talk about the self-analysis. Okay. And this self-analysis this personal inventory is for you, and you can do whatever you want to do with it. The author shares with us internal personal inventory, but he also shares external inventory. So we may not get to the external inventory today because the internal inventory assessment can be quite daunting. So the first question he says is, have you attained the goal which you established as your objective for the year? So Chris, let's go to you. And you can also ask me some of these questions too. But have you established your objective for the year so far?
Well, it's interesting because, when we were together in January, I wrote a goal. And when I look back at it, because you helpfully sent it to me.
Wait. Hold on. Let's make sure everybody understands that. What Chris is talking about is on an annual basis. We have an annual meeting. We'll talk about that. We have an annual meeting in Boca Raton in January. And it is an annual meeting for your life, where you bring your life in writing. And many of the questions that deal with the 10 areas I talked about, you get to assess yourself. And before you leave, we ask you to write a letter to yourself. And at the 6-month line of the year, which is June, we mail that letter back to you. So sign up for the event, and you can go to our website at internationalmasterminders.com to register for that. But Chris, let's go ahead with your question. You received your letter back in the mail.
And I realized how much has changed this year, because those goals were very small compared to what's happening now.
Wow.
So even though I haven't accomplished them, and actually I went the complete opposite direction, because I said that I was going to attain 2 more properties this year, 2 more income producing properties. And actually it turned out to be a great year to sell. So instead I've divested some of my property.
Wow.
Yeah. So things have changed a lot, but also, like I said, now that I have this aha clarity moment of who I serve, and I've sort of attracted, right? You can't chase wealth, you attract it.
Ooh, say it. Sounds familiar. Go ahead. I love the sound of that. Let's go back. Let's go back to the original question. I think this is very important for our listeners. You started with an amount of money that you desired. So I just want to make sure our audience catch this point. You see, the first step is how much you want. So even though her strategy and her plan was to sell property, to buy property, she actually sold property, and it took her, I'm assuming it took you closer to your number one amount.
Yeah, there's two pieces of my financial goal. There's a certain amount that I have in my investment account, but then there's also a passive income stream that's coming in weekly. And I originally thought that passive income stream was going to be primarily from real estate. And I'm thinking now that it's actually going to be from my online course.
Exactly. Now, the point we're making here is this is all a part of your plan. See, you can have plans that relate to the goal. The plan may change, the goal does not have to. And even though we think we know exactly how we're going to get there, when you get to that fork in the road, you can go either direction and still make it right. So let's go on to the next question. Have you delivered service of the best possible quality of which you are capable? And I'll go ahead and add the best possible quantity in the spirit of a business person, because that takes in the next couple of questions too. Have you delivered service in the best possible quality and the best possible quantity in the spirit of a business person?
I have, but even that is evolving, because each time I have any kind of an encounter, any kind of a business transaction, at the end, I will evaluate and say, okay, what could I have done better? So even though in that moment, I delivered the best possible quality and the best possible quantity that I was capable of, now the next time it's actually even going to be better.
Excellent. Now, have you permitted the habit of procrastination to decrease your efficiency of the service you render?
I have tried to minimize. I have minimized my procrastination as much as possible. But yes, of course, there are some days where you just don't get all your items checked off, right? You allow yourself to be distracted. But I don't want to just be on the hot seat, and I want to direct some of these questions to you.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. I'm always up for the challenge. Yes.
So have you allowed any procrastination to enter into to distract you from your goals this year so far?
Listen, absolutely. Every day, every single day I have. Now, it decreases over time because I'm more focused on where I'm going, but also I'm a little bit more realistic about the fact that it is not a destination, Chris. It's a journey.
It is. One thing before you go back to the questions, Anne, that I want to just let people know, one of the most powerful pieces of this whole analysis to me, because you can obviously look at where what you want to accomplish this year, whatever, but creating our obituary.
Oh, yes.
Is so powerful, because it really makes you stop and think, like, when I'm gone, how do I want to be remembered? What kinds of things have I done to impact the world, my little community, my family, whatever? And that having that big giant goal, or at least that it's not even so much of a goal, but it's more of like who did I become? Who did I evolve into during my life? It does allow you to find some clarity of all the little pieces that are going to have to be in place in order for you to become that person by the time that you are ready to leave this world.
And Chris, and I think that that's one of the reasons why, and we've heard it said that, you really should set a large goal, not so much for the money, but who you must become in the process. And
Exactly.
Oftentimes when we set those smaller goals and we hit it, oh, that was nothing. Yeah, but how much did you have to stretch? I had the benefit of talking with my nephew yesterday from Philadelphia. He was visiting, and he and his friend are college students, and they, tall, dark, handsome young men, bodybuilding athletes. And the first thing I said when I saw them, I said, "Wow, how much weight are you lifting?" And they started, bragging all of that. And I said, and how long did it take? And they were bragging about, what they do every day. And And then I asked the question, and that's for your body, but what about your brains? They looked at each other, then they looked at me and tilted their head. What do you mean? I said, okay, does the body carry the brain or does the brain carry the body? You're investing all of this time and energy and resources in building these muscles. It's wonderful, healthy, but how much time and energy are you investing in your brain? And then I began to walk through the different areas. And before they left, of course, I did gift them with the book. Yes, I did. And to go to the website betterinvesting.org to become an investor. And of course, I began to talk about the fact that if you at your age invested $20 a month, by the time you're my age, you're sitting on six figures, even if they're all zeros and one. But if you don't study to show yourself approved, it's not going to happen. So invest some time and energy on the brain. And that's where our clarity work comes in every day. We don't have to do a lot, but we do a little over a longer period of time, not a lot for a short period of time. So I just wanted to share that, Chris, because I think that what you're saying is so vitally important, because that process also helps us to find out who the target market is when you do the work, the inner work. You know, ideas come early in the morning to bless you with how you're going to do it. And it's one little step at a time. And then the next day, one little step. But the procrastination can definitely eat away at that. So,
yeah, definitely. Did you want to address any of the other questions that you'd already asked me about your goals for the year? How you're going with those?
Listen, you can go anywhere with the questions, because I think that we want to, and we ask the audience to please share with us, you know, any questions that they may have. And I'll just check for a moment. I don't see any yet. But again, we want to make sure that we engage them. But we also, so Laverne says, monthly accountability with the group of, and mine is cut off, a group of like-minded and like-hearted people. I think that, thank you for that, Laverne, because you must have both. You must have like-minded, like-hearted, well, I call it like spirit of like-hearted people, in order to really mastermind. And a lot of people don't understand that when you talk about the word masterminding, and with our International Mastermind Association, we are in fact creating a place for mastermind groups to come and find out the best practices of how do you mastermind with the group. Because a lot of time people say they're masterminding, and Laverne put it quite well when she said, I thought I was masterminding until she became a part of our community. And so if you're listening to this and you are really looking for best practices on how to mastermind, actually, I have a book that I wrote. Yes, we'll talk about that. And this is it. It is called The McMill Factor: How to Start and Run a Successful Mastermind Group. And I was blessed when one of our guests, Jeffrey Hazlett, who has a phenomenal high-end mastermind, and he said, Ann, I'll tear your pages out the book. I traveled with it. He said, I need to order another book, the workbook. He said, I ordered everything. He said, I ordered your journal. I ordered your workbook. I ordered your how-to book. I follow you. And I'm on this. We were interviewing him here, and I'm leaning in because I am so thankful to God that I did the work. 40 years of doing the work to produce those products, not of what I heard, but what I actually experienced. And so, Chris, I can go anywhere with the question. So let's go back to Napoleon Hill and this self-analysis. So I'll come back to you. And the next question is, have you reached decisions promptly and definitely on all occasions?
Most occasions. There's sometimes when I'm at a restaurant and it takes me a minute to decide if I want the special or if I want my usual. But yeah, I'm actually that's one thing that I'm blessed with, making quick decisions. I look and I even make them too quickly sometimes, but I just look at the available information and I just choose something, because you can't analysis paralysis is a real thing, right?
Yes, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Now, do you find that you are persistent in following your plans through to completion?
I will confess that I like making plans more than I like finishing them.
All right, let's move on to have you improved your personality, and if so, in what ways?
Have I improved my personality?
Yes, and if so, in what ways have you
In what
improved your
ways?
personality?
I am much more positive now, and that's intentionally positive. I'll notice when, sometimes you're with a group of people and they're pointing out all the negative aspects of something, that I'm very quick to turn that around, at least in my own mind, and often to everyone, and say, yes, but da da da, I mean, it just like, and maybe it's Pollyanna, in some ways, but the other day we were walking the beach, and there was a guy he was a homeless guy, and he had his stuff all set up on the bandstand so that he could see the ocean. You know what I mean? He had like everything like propped up so that he was like at an angle, so that as soon as he opened his eyes, he'd be able to see the ocean. And people had like sort of a negative thought. And I thought, geez, what a great spot. He's enjoying his life. I mean, hey, you don't know his situation. He might be thrilled not to have a care in the world, not to have a mortgage, not to have a car payment, right? He's just open his eyes. He's at the beach. He's thinking, hey, life is good.
And it is. And it is.
Right?
As a matter of fact, we have a question for you from one of our audience participants. And the person says, Chris, how and when do you start your day to jumpstart your day to stay positive and focused?
Do you think that came from someone we know, and someone who already knows the answer to that
question to me? But I think it's important though, and I would encourage you to respond, however you see fit, because one of the things that we all know is that this journey, I call it, we work 12 hours. We work 12 hours a day, and by the time most people get up, our day is done. So the question is, when do you start your day to stay positive and focused? When and how?
When and how? So my alarm goes off at 4, and actually I'm strangely, or, I would have told you that this was impossible, but actually a lot of days I'm already awake, and I'm sort of just lying there waiting for the alarm to go off at 4 o'clock. And then when it goes off, first thing I do is I'll listen to some type of inspirational material. A lot of times this month it's Jim Rohn, because that's what we're focusing. That's who we're focusing on in our Clarity Mastermind. Sometimes it's other folks, but and then I do that for at least 20 minutes. Then my alarm goes off again. So that's like, okay, it's 20 minutes. So now it's time to listen to one of the scrolls from and this again is part of our Clarity Mastermind work, is we're listening to the Greatest Salesman in the World by Og Mandino, and I'm up to scroll 6. So then I'll listen to scroll 6. It's like, okay, no more Jim Rohn. Now we got to listen to Og. And then sometimes something else, I'll do a little bit of meditation or whatever, but no matter what, by the time that the sun is going to come up, which right now is like 5:05, I have to be on the beach and ready to take my walk. And so every morning I'm there on the beach for the sunrise. I'm walking 4 miles at least, although like last Sunday I walked 8.5 miles. And then I worked later in the day, and I thought, gee, why are my legs hurt? That's right. I walked 8.5 miles today. So walking along the beach, which is very meditative time, a very quiet time for me. That's when I do my affirmations. That's when I do my self-confidence formula. And that's when I just sort of like allow my brain to just wander. I appreciate the sky and the beach. And even if it's pouring down rain, I don't care. I'm out there, and it's just such a magical, special time to be in nature like that. And then, back home, my day begins. But at least I've set the groundwork, right? I've allowed my mind to be calm and focused and clear. And that way, and everything that's happened to me in the first 3 hours of my day is going to be something positive and helpful. And, there's no need to start answering emails at 5 o'clock in the morning for me, right? No one's going to be up to read them anyway, unless I'm sending an email to you, Ann, but so yeah. And then I've got
and most people that know me know that if you send an email to me, somebody else will be reading that email. So just
Exactly.
especially early in the morning, because Chris and I are stepping foot every single day, literally 7 days a week. And we share that, and it's personal, but it's not for everybody. We didn't start that way.
No.
And I was one of those people that had to be at work at 8 o'clock, and I got up at 7:30.
And I used to be proud of the fact that as a real estate agent, I didn't have to set an alarm, right? I could just get up whenever the heck I wanted. And I usually would wake up. What I did is I had an alarm that went off at 7:30. So the same as you, so that if I could lay there and sort of like veg out in bed for a while, even if I was awake, I would still just lay there and think or, whatever. And then 7:30, get up and, start your day. And I mean, there's
nothing of it, Chris, and thought nothing of it.
Not nothing of it, because I didn't know what was going on at 4 a.m. that I had no idea about.
Well, I would like to suggest that you didn't have a dream to have a dream come true. You didn't have a definite purpose and or a desire to have a reason to get up and get started. And Laverne has made a comment here. She said, I also realized that we need to be in similar, we need to be in similar abundance consciousness in our Clarity Mastermind group. This is a profound lesson learned from the Ann McNeil Clarity Mastermind. So thank you so much, Chris, and thank you so much, Laverne, for that question, because again, we're going to go quickly to talk a little bit about our annual accountability meeting. And I share every week. I encourage you to please register, because the investment will go up. Right now, it is under a couple of $100, and it will be increasing, and the space is limited. And so we will be in Boca Raton at the Embassy Suites for our international 2021 annual accountability meeting for your life. And this is our Think and Grow Rich International Mastermind Association. And that's the date of that is January 7th and 8th. And then we have, of course, our McNeil Factor mid-year check-in, which we will be hosting on Saturday, July 31st from 1 to 5 p.m. And we want to ask you to join us, and you can go to annmcneil.com to get the information of that. And that basically allows us to virtually check in. The annual meeting is face-to-face, but the mid-year is, just like you said, the letter you got from yourself. So we're going to be inviting all of you to come back and share, but not only to share, but also to reset. That's the mid-year mark. And we want you to reset those goals with accountability, but with some adjustment in your plans. You may not have to adjust the goal, but you may want to adjust your plans. And Chris, I know you did attend, was it 1, 2, how many of our annual meetings that you've attended so far?
I think 3, definitely 2, but I think 3.
And I think you have a special person that comes with you now, right? Can you share his experience?
It's so funny because I date this guy called John, and it was the first time we went. He was so intimidated because he does not, in his entire 60 years on earth, he's never set a goal. Never.
Wow.
And so I said, yeah, exactly. So I said, well, we're going for this thing. He's like, I think I'm going to sit this out. And I said, okay, fine, whatever, but I'm going. So, his mom has a condo in Florida. So we were going to, he said, I'll come along for the ride, but I'm not going to go to that thing.
And so what happened? And what happened was,
and he's all last minute. He's like, well, okay, because I said, well, first let's work on I said, well, you might go, you might not, but we might as well do your annual report. It's a good exercise anyway. It'll be helpful to you. And so we did the annual, like dragging him in little pieces at a time. So he did do his annual report, and he found it, I know, very powerful and very introspective, and really forced him to think about some things that he had never thought of before. And I told him about you and how great you were and how instrumental you had been in my life. And he walked in there thinking he was going to be judged. That's what he thought. He thought, they're going to take one look at me and they're going to know this guy has no goals and they're going to kick me out.
And is that what happened?
That is not what happened. As a matter of fact, I think in the beginning when we were all, and you had called on him and asked him to speak about it, I think just to introduce himself or whatever. By then he already was close to tears, but because he was so like he'd been enveloped in this love fest of just everybody so supportive, so warm, so wonderful. And he just, I know it was transformative to him that he just absolutely loved it. So, and every year he says the same thing.
And that was the first year.
That was the first year. Exactly.
And the
second year, he said the same thing. Oh, I didn't accomplish my goals. I can't come back. I didn't accomplish any of my goals. Oh, there's no point in going.
But he did set them. He did set them. And we're talking to you, whoever you are that's listening, that this relates to you. See, everybody's not going to be able to relate to Chris getting up at 4:00 and having all these phenomenal goals and knowing who you speak to. Everybody cannot relate to that. But there are some people that will relate to John. Because even though the first year he felt a certain way, but by the second year he did write the goals, because you, just in case you don't know, before we allow you to enter the room, you must complete the survey. Even if you didn't bring your goals, there's a self-assessment survey, and every line of it comes out of my life in those 10 areas. Right, Chris? And again, you must complete that. It does not take 5 minutes to complete. But like Chris said, it's very introspective. And it really encourages you to think of certain things. Very simply, for example, family. Do you have a family mission statement? A what? You know that mission statement you have for your business. Got it. You might have a mission statement for yourself, but do you have a family mission statement that was comprised of everybody in the family had a part in it, and everybody in the family know how they fit? Powerful.
And you could see the power of that with the families who were at the meeting. I mean, young kids, 3, 4, 5 years old, talking about how, Think and Grow Rich and talking about their goals. And, well, I set this goal, and you're thinking, are you kidding me? I was 10 times your age before I ever even heard of a goal, right? And it's so powerful. And the the parents who have taken the time to create that mission statement and to bring the whole family in. I mean, these kids have got such a huge advantage, right, over us. Don't you think so, Ann? I mean, they just
almost definitely. But I want people to also understand that did not happen overnight. That actually comes from a process. We actually mastermind with the children every single Sunday. And the kids, Tashana's here. She has her daughter that's a part of it. We have a number of our members here that are also participate. They have their children participate with us. And Laverne, I was just looking for someone else, and I think she may have dropped off, but
Jada, her kids are so adorable.
Yeah, Jada, yes,
Oh,
and
my
Amelia, Laverne, Ruby, thank you so very much for bringing both of your grandchildren. And we meet with them every Sunday for 30 minutes. And the children are reading Think and Grow Rich, the same version that we're reading. And I personally have been making this investment for over 25 years because I watched my children and my grandchildren. And I wish I was that smart enough to say I did it on purpose when we first started. I had, like Chris said, I did not have a clue, but I knew that just because I needed to work on myself, and someone is saying that IMA, my first IMA conference in January 2020, it was phenomenal. I was so inspired to start my annual report. Now, I'm not sure which Facebook user said that, so you can just add your name, because I think it's very important. We want to give you kudos to that. And also, you can go to StreamYard and register. If you'd like to have your name appear when we share, you can go to StreamYard. We're putting the link in the chat, and you can register, and your name will appear like the other names that are appearing here. But Chris, we're going to go ahead and prepare to wrap up now. I do want to wrap up with John the last year, which was he came 3 times. So what was his experience the very last time in terms of
Well,
his?
he just got his his paper, his have you done this yet?
Yes.
He just got his goals and he just looked at it and he said, oh. So I know next year we'll be looking at the same thing. I can't come. I didn't do my goal, blah, blah, blah. But Anne, I want to just, go along that neither of us, and John is where we have both been, right? This isn't something that happens overnight, as you said.
Correct.
You can't discount the value of just time and just persistence, right? Napoleon Hill talks about persistence of just sticking with these things every week, every day, just to get it in your head and keep it going, because that's most of us are coming from a place where we're like, goals, who needs them? Whatever. I'm just not, oh, and she's just so smart, she's been doing, whatever. But we didn't start this way.
Exactly.
It's a process.
We just heard from Beverly Beard made that comment. So thank you so very much. And I want to encourage, all of our listeners and participants, if you have a desire, and it can be whatever it is, it does not have to be money. It could be health. Consider joining us as a part of our Clarity Mastermind. And again, you can go to my website at annmcneil.com and really look at where can you align yourself. And I will say this because there is a pre-qualification process. I'm apologizing for not apologizing. I don't take everybody. No. And the reason, and I think Laverne said it, you can also text the word Ann at 55678. You can text the word Ann at 55678 and we'll connect with you. But Laverne said it. She said, you must be like-hearted and like-minded or spirited. Everybody's not there. And so we do take you through a process because, again, when we bring you into our community, we don't want to have to remove you. And so if you don't have any desires or goals or aspirations for what you want to achieve by working on yourself, that's why they call it self-analysis, self-inventory. This really may not be the place for you. What I'd encourage all of you to do is start with our Friday accountability call. And you can go to my website, or you can just go to Eventbrite. All of this is on Eventbrite and you can search the titles. But Friday, the Think and Grow Rich accountability call, it's 15, 20 minutes every Friday. Yes, 52 weeks a year, even if it's a holiday, because your life really don't take vacation. You may go on a vacation, but even while on a vacation, you still must do the work. So, Chris, I cannot say enough about being here with you alone today. The guys, they will be back. We want to keep Galen in our prayers. He has a family situation that we will all experience, or we are experiencing. And so we want to send him many prayers. And then the doctor is out on vacation, and we want to send him prayers too, that he has a phenomenal time. But Chris, I have been very honored to be here with you and sharing with our guests. And thank you, all of our guests, for participating with us today. So Chris, I'm going to give you the last word, if you will, in terms of any comments or last thoughts you'd like to share with our group.
Thanks very much. And it has been such a joy. I didn't know it was just going to be the two of us today, but it is good fun just hanging out with you and I'm glad everybody was listening in on our private conversation. Always such a pleasure to connect with you. I would invite anybody who would like to hear, well, you don't have to be a single woman over 50 to listen to the podcast, but that's sort of because that's who I am. It's sort of what it's geared toward, but it's called Get Your Fill, Financial Independence and Long Life. And that is the Get Your Fill podcast. And you can go to getyourfillpodcast.com, or it's on everywhere that you listen, iTunes and Apple and Anchor and all that kind of stuff. And just hear what we're up to. And I'm not going to the goal for launching the course is at the beginning of September. So maybe I can just give Ann that info once the course is launched. If you want to have help creating a retirement plan for yourself, a passive income stream for your retirement, with my online course, which is under development.
Chris, I'm going to encourage everybody to follow you. And so if they go to your website, definitely get her book, Empower Your Inner Millionaire. Awesome book, awesome read, a lot of great nuggets and actionable items that you can do to get started. Don't wait for the course. Start now with the book, start now with the podcast, and connect with Chris. You can find her on all the social media. And I tell you, you will not be disappointed. So, Chris, I love you, sister, another sister from another mother. I really do. And all of our great, wonderful, phenomenal guests, thank you so very much for chiming in and being a part of the conversation, because you must have, and I like to say this always, you must have a dream in order to have a dream come true for you. You must have a dream in order to have a dream come true for you. You would not get in your car without a destination. How do you expect to live a life without a destination for which you would plan to achieve with organized plans? And if you really want to have a better quality of life in every area of your life, you can connect with me. You can connect with Chris. You can reach me at annmcneil.com and participate in all of the many programs that we have. But more importantly than all of that, you must have a dream to have a dream come true. So thank you so very much for listening to us, participating in our podcast. But follow us on all of the different social media, and then join us again next week as we continue this conversation. Yes, this conversation about your organized plans with this Think and Grow Rich philosophy espoused by Napoleon Hill. And until then, we'll see you next time. Thank you.